Well, hello, hello. Good afternoon and good evening and good morning somewhere out there in the world. This is your hostess with the mostest, Eve Gomez, also known as EVE, and this is Real Talk with EVE show. And of course, every Saturday at noon, some lunch and learn. I used to have it on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but it's a bit too much because, boy, if you only knew how much I'm doing. Anyway, it brings me great pleasure to bring another awesome guest today. He's been on the show before, but we are doing a follow up with him to see what is happening now. Um, all exciting things, right? And for those of you that watched me last Saturday, we had the most funniest video part, and that was because it was so windy. And if you saw it, and of course, I want to congratulate Rahab's Daughters organization. Um, they had an event in Barrington, so I was there and I was covering it live. And of course, something funny had to happen. Somebody's tent just went flying because it was so windy, but it still was a great video, great interview, great information. And I want to congratulate the team, those that are boots on the ground, and everybody that's taking part of making it work, making it happen. And they are planning to go places. Um, I know that one of our team members, that is the director of Moms Against Human Trafficking, and she and her family and part of the team will be going to Belize. They do help, I think, an orphanage out there as well. But next year, folks, I'm going to bring Sam again. Sharmila is the co-founder of Rahab's Daughters. She's also a I was gonna say a victim, not anymore. She's a survivor of Rahab's Daughters of human trafficking. So yeah, we just check it out, rahabsdaughters.org. That's rahabsdaughters.org. And now, what you all been waiting for. I'm just having a lot of fun today. It's just been a very crazy, crazy morning. But we are here, and of course, I'm going to bring you up Mr. David A. Ward, and here he is. Good afternoon. How are you doing, Dave?
Fabulous. Couldn't be any better. Couldn't be any
Amen
better.
to that. Awesome. Haven't seen you in a minute, but I'm glad you're able to come on today and tell us the latest, the greatest of things that you're doing. And obviously, I see that you're still traveling with what you're doing regarding safety, right?
Yes, actually, I just got back from Ohio and I'm headed out again on Monday. I'll be gone for 4 days as well, doing safety with executive staff, trying to inform them the value of safety because most exec staff are unaware how valuable safety is to their facilities, to their business, and to their bottom line.
Wow. And it's sad that people are not aware. Is that what you're finding out when you go into these places, Dave?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny, but when you turn around, they have a different focus. Their focus isn't about safety. Their focus is, production, quality, and out the door, and that bottom line, and making sure that their doors stay open. However, they just don't realize that, production and quality and safety are like a fire triangle, like I said before, and one without the other is no good. And, as long as you have safety, um, and you have that focus on safety and the value, and you make it a core value of your company and not just a priority, I think, the benefits will definitely come. It may not happen today or tomorrow, but every life that walks through and walks out that door every day, that's money at hand.
Better believe it. Safety over production, but in what you're seeing and what I'm seeing when someone gets hurt is production over safety, profit over safety.
Oh, absolutely. When you turn around, they need the profits to keep their doors open. However, when you look at the big picture and you realize that safety should be an integral part of that philosophy and the value of safety, it should be a core value and not just, like I said, not just a priority for your company, because priorities come and go. They change with the wind. But if it's a core value, it's like having a core value in your life. It's a staple. It's a stronghold. It's a cornerstone.
That is so, so true. Now, let me just give you a little history, guys, and thank you for joining here, Real Talk with EVE, and my special guest, David A. Ward Sr. He and I go way back. Oh, my goodness. I don't want to call you old or
2011.
myself. 2011? Wow, you remembered, huh?
Yes.
How did we meet anyway?
Yes.
Do you remember how we met? How did we
It was actually at a function, and it was at that school over there, or that facility in Hammond.
Ah,
And they were
HACC?
doing safety. Yeah, and that's when I met you and Gilbert Velez.
Right,
We met
right.
you guys at the same day, yes.
Wow, look at
And then
that.
we just clicked.
We sure did. So we started working on Safety by Design's mission and vision, and that is also created by David A. Ward Sr., and that was Safety by Design. Now, you have an extensive background dealing with training, with inspections, with evaluations, with safety. Tell us a little bit about that, Dave. For those of
Well,
the new viewers that don't know who you are.
that started in back in 1976 when I spent 6 years with the United States Air Force. I was in security, and I also did some work with the decontamination teams. And after I left the military, I got involved with the Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Prisons, and I became a safety manager, and then I became the National Safety Examiner. I went through every federal prison and some state prisons throughout the United States, examined their health care, their food service, their education, their VT programs, their Unicore factories, from cable to textile to machine guarding to making boots to cable, Humvee repairs for the military, weather flags and things of that nature. So it was extensive, and I did 23 years there, and I seen an opening for a federal investigator at OSHA in Calumet City, Illinois. I applied for it, was hired, spent 5 years doing DOT, FRSA, the Federal Railroad Safety Administration, STA, the Surface Transportation Assistance Act, 11C, which is normal safety stuff. And I also participated in some of the group discussions and trainings. And after that, I retired. And as soon as I retired in May and July, I opened up Safety by Design Consulting Service. And the focus there was to help small to medium-sized business, and with a special emphasis on Spanish and the Hispanic community. Why? Because they're doing the work. They're the ones that are put in the most precarious situations, and they really don't understand the dangers. Yes.
That is so, so true. So that's how I got involved in being in the Latino community for Safety by Design, because I'm all about safety. And you know, Dave, since I've been working with you way back then, I felt that there was a calling to always see beyond what most people see or don't see, and that's
Yeah.
safety hazards they don't see. And because of working with you, it's opened up my eyes, but mainly because of what happens afterwards when someone gets hurt. Remember, I said, hey, what a perfect team we make, because you're preventing and I'm what happens afterwards when I'm interpreting for someone that got hurt on the job because of lack of training, lack of safety.
Yes. Lack of understanding, because like when we talked about it, yeah, when we went to the OSHA function,
Oh my
and
gosh,
you
that
brought
was
up
so
that intriguing question in reference to language. And, I mean, it says it. It's in a law. It's that you have to train employees in their language so they understand. But most employers don't have Hispanic supervisors or people that actually understand and can speak fluent Spanish to where they can actually turn around and relay the importance of what they're doing, how they're supposed to do it.
But
go ahead.
There's an answer to that. There's an answer to that. I've been to these corporations, these companies, these factories or manufacturers where they go in and they hire someone like me. And when they're talking about safety, guess who's interpreting?
Yes.
Now they can't say they
but
didn't know. Not too many
Yeah,
people do that.
but it is pretty sad, right? And it's pretty sad though when because somebody has to speak first. Somebody has to be knowledgeable enough to do the presentation for you to interpret. And there's not a lot of people that really understand the specific standards, the OSHA standards. Lockout, Taggart, hazardous communication, GHS. You talk about respiratory protection. You talk about confined space. Those are really, really integral standards. And you're going to turn around and I give something out. If I don't speak Spanish, how do I know exactly what you're saying?
Right. Right. That's
See,
crucial.
yeah,
That is
that
so
is
crucial.
crucial because yes, ma'am.
That is so crucial. And so in that conference that was held by OSHA, I would love to go back to another one and ask the same question, because not many people don't know that they can ask that question, because they don't know that it's also required by law to train them in the language that they understand. Right.
Exactly.
Um,
If you turn around and go to the OSHA website and you do the quick takes as well, they send out great information. And one of the stuff that they send out just recently was training employees in the language that they understand. So they know there's an issue. They know there's a problem. And, it's evident by the amount of deaths and injuries that we currently have throughout our facilities.
Yep. I mean, at OSHA's website, osha.gov, offers everything they have there in other languages, all of them, because they know
you
it's
can get
important.
into publications. Yep, go into the publications, get the fact sheets, get the training pamphlets. It's important, But again, all this takes time. In most facilities, most people turn around. They don't have safety managers. They don't have, they give that to either a facility or plant manager, or they give it to an HR manager. And again, when you look at the time that's spent on safety in comparison to the time that they're spending on plant management duties or HR duties, it's probably 95 to 5.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm looking here, Dave, and you tell me. It says if you want to file a complaint, or if you want to, oh I'm changing it to a language that I have no idea what it's saying. Sorry. How do I go back to it? Okay. Okay, I got Spanish now. That you can actually go and ask for a free consultation. My question to you, since I know you worked with OSHA, Dave, is, are they at risk to be fined if a small business calls them for a consultation on their business?
No, I mean, OSHA, no matter what anybody thinks, OSHA is there to help. And when you normally call in, you're talking to a person that's called a duty officer. And that duty officer's job is to help people when they call in and say, hey, this may be an issue. What do you think? The only people that can interpret the OSHA standards are OSHA employees, right? So you definitely want to get it right from the source. Now, if you ask OSHA to come in on a consultation, and they come in and they say, well, these things you need to address, and you fail to address them, yes, they have the right to come after you, right?
Okay.
So if you're going to invite OSHA into your house, you better be prepared to do some of the work. If you're not going to do the work, then don't invite them in.
Right. I mean, why else would you want to invite them if you don't want to do what's right?
True.
Which,
That's
get it
very
together,
true.
put everything out that you need to. It should not be production over safety, profit over safety. And as a small business, let me tell you, I've gone into these restaurants, Dave, and you may have already noticed it too. Those doormats, the rugs that are in the front, as asking for a lawsuit right there if they're not watching that it's curled up, that it's old. These are questions that come up after somebody gets hurt because they tripped on that doormat or that carpet that's there for you to dry your feet. Well, if it's too old, they ask, how old is it? When was the last time they changed it? I've seen it where I actually tell somebody, hey, you need to fix that because that somebody can fall. And I'll save you, and I'll give you an expensive tip. Somebody can fall and sue this company,
Yeah,
sue this Dunkin' Donuts, or sue
absolutely.
this McDonald's, or wherever. And some of them are grateful because they realize that it's their job, not mine, to make sure that they take care of that, that there aren't any hazards, no trips, falls, slippery things, nothing of that nature in and around. You know, it was so funny when you mentioned lockout, tag out. Let me tell you real quick. And this is all about safety. And most people don't think about it. They walk into a place not even realizing to be aware of their surroundings. They could be right by a trip hazard and not know it until it happens. Look for it
Right.
before you fall, right? This lockout, tag out, this man lost his hand at a tortilla company. The opening opened up too much where his whole hand was able to go all the way in as he's cleaning with a hook the dough. He's using the hook to go in, not his whole hand. Somebody behind him pushed him, that whole hand went in. He lost part of his hand. Can you imagine what that looked like? Well, they actually reached out to the manufacturing company. That lockout, tag out, that chain should not have been that long. These are things
Well,
that
it's not
people
only
don't
that,
think.
they're properly guarded. Exactly. You shouldn't have been able to get into that point. And then on the other hand, when you're the operator of that piece of equipment, you shouldn't have people in a circumference of you either. And that's the specific reason, is because somebody may accidentally step on a foot pedal, or somebody may accidentally fall and trip and hit you, and you're put in a position now that you're exposed to a hazardous condition just because of the close proximity.
Yeah. I mean, if we were to only just take the time to educate ourselves, I've learned so much with all these lawsuits and also from you, Dave, as to what not to do, what to be careful, what to look out for.
Well, it's just that
You
people don't understand that it takes time to develop a sound safety program. And you have to have a professional who knows the standards so they can actually train people and educate, like you said, educate people. You can go in and do all the audits that you want, but if you don't educate while you're doing that inspection or audit, then you might as well, that's just a waste of time. It's just a paper
right.
chase, and you can come back 6 months later and they'll still be the same thing. Why? Because you didn't educate the person as to why you're writing it down, why you're documented, what is the standard, why we have to do certain things. And then on the other hand, you want to develop that dialogue to where the employees can talk and say, hey, listen, I did it this way because of this. And that may open up a door to where they weren't properly trained. So
Hello, which happens a
there's
lot.
a yes. Oh, well, especially right now in today's society, nobody's really doing what we call a quality new employee training. Why? Because we don't have enough employees in the companies the way it is. So they want to get those bodies out on the floor as quick as they can.
Yeah.
And now you're
It's,
just
it's
exposing people to additional hazards.
That is so, so true, Dave. And so, what caught you wanting to do things to do safety? I don't know if I caught it, but most of the time I ask, did something happen in your life that made you want to go do this versus that? I mean, and thank you for serving in for your service for this country. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. More than welcome. No, it's just that you see people get injured all the time, and you wonder why we can't prevent this stuff. And in all actuality, when we turn around, I felt like it was necessary specifically for the Hispanic community, because again, these are the people that are coming and working in these companies and don't get properly trained and are exposed to some of the most hazardous conditions. And all they're trying to do is get a paycheck. All they're trying to do is provide for their family. So in essence, what they're doing is they're nodding their head, they're signing a sheet of paper, and they probably have no understanding of what they're signing or anything. So
Nope.
Those are
What
the
I'm
things
hearing
that
is
drove. And
it drove you to do that, and thank you that it did, that you allowed it to drive you there, because it's so important that there's someone out there that cares enough to, one, point it out, two, teach it in a better way to save a life, right? What I've heard is when they said, "Did you sign this? Is that your signature?" You know, now that they've gotten hurt, now they're in a lawsuit. The attorney shows them the sheet
right,
that they signed, and they say, "Is this your signature?" "Yes." "Do you know what you signed?" "No, they just told me sign this. You're hired."
yes,
I mean,
yeah.
they're thinking that's just saying I got hired.
Yeah. And
They
most
don't think the
people turn
check was
around.
Mhm.
Nope. And on their training, what they normally do is post it and tell you you have to sign it, and they don't even train on it. It's just
No,
a sheet of paper that describes lockout, tag out, machine guarding, or whatever the case may be. And they want you to just sign your name so they have documentation that you were there. Now,
and,
were
and,
you
and
there? Did you get
they were
trained?
told what they were told
Probably
when they
not.
probably weren't told anything.
Yes, yes.
It's
Yep.
so surreal, and people, let me tell you, I'm not just talking about it, you know, as I mentioned on the radio many times. What I tell you, I didn't read from a newspaper or a book. In this case, there is a book, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's because I've been there, done that. I'm in the trenches. I'm with victims that have had accidents that was because of lack of safety, lack of knowledge, lack of understanding. And the thing about it is the employer should know this. The employer, I always say it's best that you
Right.
spend a couple $1,000s to get the proper training than having to pay a couple $1,000,000 because someone got hurt. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, there's not a job out there today that's paying you enough money, one, to get hurt, right?
Yeah.
And two, the effects that injuries and fatalities have on families is extreme. You know, especially in today's world with mental health conditions and things,
Well,
you know, families are stressed out enough financially, you know, emotionally, trying to take care of parents, trying to take care of kids. Now I have an injured husband or an injured
mhm.
wife, injured brother, injured sister, injured mother, injured father. And now what do? Can I afford it? Can I really make it on? Now I'm losing a whole other income.
Yeah. People need to wake up, and
So it's tough. And
it,
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 you
it
know,
is.
somebody needs to bring it.
Well, let's bring it to everybody's attention.
Yeah. I
Let's
mean, look
bring
at,
it to
you know,
everybody's household.
yes. Well, you know, safety is not only at work. If you're not safe at home, you can't
No,
be safe at
at
work.
home.
So, you know, you
Exactly.
gotta have, yeah, you have to have that focus. When I do training, no matter what it is, I try and always relate the training, even though I'm at a work facility, to the home. Why? Because I want to bring it down to an emotional level to get people to realize that if you're not safe at home, you can't walk through your company's door and then turn on a switch and then all of a sudden try and be safe.
Mm.
It doesn't work that way. It's a habit, it's a lifestyle, you know, and it's like, you know, it's like Lee Shelby, a great motivational speaker, turned around and got injured, and he's using his injury out there to inform people. However, the loss that he has had, there's not enough money in the world that you can give him to speak at your facility that's going to take away the pain and the emotional strife he's been through. And not only him, but his family. And that's why the title of my book, The Faces of Safety and Those
Yes.
Left Behind When Tragedy Strikes, because there are people that are left behind.
Wow. And I know that it took a lot of experiences for you to sit there and write this book. And let me just say this, guys, for those of you that just joining us here on Real Talk with E.V.E, the Faces of Safety National Safety Consultant, as you see here on the screen, is David A. Ward Sr. He just released this new book. We talked about it before. He was in the making of it. now is released and launched. And this is The Faces of Safety. What is an employee life worth? Is a question that rarely asked in the world of business, but it's one that David A. Ward Sr., an executive safety facilitator, national safety consultant, and OSHA outreach trainer, confronts head on. His thought-provoking new book, The Faces of Safety. Through powerful anecdotes and real-life examples, David challenges readers to reconsider their priorities. He wants you to think about how to take action to create safer, healthier workplaces. The faces of safety will stir your emotions and leave you with a newfound appreciation for hardworking man, woman, and young adult that supports every business and reminds us of the immense cost of neglecting their well-being. This book poses the tough questions to those in management and reveals the heartbreaking realities of families affected by workplace tragedy. It's time to face the truth that the pain, suffering, heartache caused by accidents and the loss of life cannot be described in words or in a monetary figure. So, The Faces of Safety reveals that power of a safety culture. And as I just said, it's thought provoking and inspiring read challenges the way we think about employee safety, folks. That is, sounds to me, it's an amazing book, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, what more can I say? It is it's supposed to be a book to stir the heart, to stir your emotions, and to really understand that there's lives at stake. And every injury and every fatality not only affects the employee, but every family member, every
Mm,
coworker. And the cost of an injury is
mm,
exorbitant, And all I'm asking is for CEOs, CFOs, and COOs and supervisors is to actually invest in their employee safety. Show them how valuable they are by investing in their safety. Because if you invest just $1, you get a $4 to $6 return. And that's not according to Dave Ward. That's according to the National Safety Council. And, OSHA's put out the same information. So it's worth the money to invest in your employees because it will help you in the future. It creates better business, and then on the other hand, it shows how much value you put into your employees.
mm.
What is a life worth? That's a hell of a question. Can you answer it?
Yeah.
And if you don't invest in your employees, are you willing to take the consequences?
Mm,
And those consequences could be enormous. Those consequences could even uh, be the loss of your business or the
yeah.
loss of future business with other clients. So I just want to stir the people's hearts.
Yeah. No, and that's
And I just want
powerful.
people to know there's faces that aren't,
Yeah.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
faces that aren't seen that cry out
Hmm.
every night.
Hmm.
There's funerals that CEOs don't even and there's names of family members that no one will ever know. And that little check that you send out because of fatality has no real value to that family.
Mm,
Think about that.
that's good.
So I'll
Yeah.
leave you
No.
with that. But
Yeah. No.
here's the book.
That's heavy.
So safe.
Yes. The
Yeah.
Faces of Safety. And
So
it is available for purchase, guys. Where can they find your book?
yes. At
Where can they find?
Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Nobles, or you can come to my website and he'll direct you to where you can purchase the book. If you have any questions and if you want to buy books for your employees, just contact me directly at 219-669-9043. Listen, it's not about money. It's about sending out the message that people need to hear. So I'd be willing just to give it to you at cost, because it's that important. It's a message that has no monetary value, because lives are worth
Right.
more. Lives are precious. And I think if we just say platforms like yours that make my job so much easier. And I want to thank you for your kindness. I want to thank you for allowing me to present my book, and for you to co-sign my book, and for your friendship. It's been a long, it's been over 12 years now, and our friendship has gone strong. And congratulations on all you're doing as well.
Thank you, guys. And you see his website down here. It's davidawardSenior.com. You can find out information there. You can go straight there and purchase your book. You heard him is in Barnes & Noble. Where at again? Barnes & Noble,
Walmart,
and Walmart.
Amazon,
Where else?
Target.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes, it's on
so we
Amazon.
need to get this book in people's hands, people. We need to get them in your hands. Learn, especially if you are a small business. Don't get caught up in the trip about I got to make some money, but then you're not valuing your employee's life. You know, lawsuits, they ask, so did he come and visit you at the hospital? No, he didn't even show up. That says a lot. He only cared about you making the work, getting the work done. Production over safety. So no bueno, as the Americans say. No bueno. And guys, this book, he's talking about the different areas that he's touching, from every business, from manufacturing, automotive, retail, food processing, transportation, insurance, warehousing, distribution centers, healthcare facilities, federal and state government agencies. If that is you, then you need to get this book. You need to talk to David, because he knows, he's the expert. That's who you need to talk to. And how can I save people's lives while I have this work going on? How? Because guess what? It's going to cost you more when a life goes. Just saying.
Yes.
Wow. Well, stay tuned, guys, for
more.
Exactly. It does not have to be a fatality. You do not want to have that in your hands, people. So stay tuned for more information. Dave, thank you so much for coming on here with this show, The Real Talk with E.V.E. And again, go to his website, David A. Ward Sr. That's SR.com. We thank you for coming on and all that you're doing. And I can't wait to get a copy of that book in my hand so I can talk more about it. But stay tuned out here in Northwest Indiana, people. We're going to be doing a launch. We're going to be doing a panel so that we can be live in person asking questions that most people have no answer to. Thank you once again, Dave. Hang tight. And we're going to bring you back again afterwards so we can promote that event. And I appreciate you. Have a good day. Thank you.
And you do the same. Thanks, Eve.
You're welcome. And that's all, folks. I went over a little bit my half hour, but sometimes it's hard to cut off when the information is good. I hope that you've taken a nugget out of today and that you get your copy of The Faces of Safety by David A. Ward Sr. Thank you for joining me here live with E.V.E. Until next time, guys. Nos vemos. Peace to you. Be safe.